Hey Free Spirit Beaters, good to see you guys. Today is July 29th. Hi Pamela. And we are going to work on finishing up some Viking knit pieces. So last week, we created some Viking knit pieces on the Lazy Daisy tool. It looks like this, the package, and then we used the 1/2 inch size, which has 12 loops on there. We did a 6 loop design, and then I also showed you guys some comparison of doing a 6 loop and a 12 loop. So I'm going to use those pieces. I have the 6 loop design piece that we are going to make into a jewelry, and then I have the 12 loop design piece that we're also going to make into a different jewelry piece today, just to show you how you finish it off. So a little bit about the Lazy Daisy tool. These are new. We have them in 2 sizes. This is the 1/2 inch size, and then we have it in the 1/4 inch size. And both of them make similar designs. With the 1/4 inch, I think it's the traditional size. I think that's what normally, I mean, it looks like the shape of a pencil, and I know that people do Viking knit on pencils or on rods or dowels, and the 1/4 inch is sort of a classic size. And then the 1/2 inch is larger. It's got 12 loops instead of 6. But I found when playing with it that it was a little bit easier. So if you've never done it before, personally I preferred using the larger one. And then I also found you can do 6 loop on the larger Lazy Daisy, and when you pull it through the draw plate, which we have new Lazy Daisy draw plates online too that look like this. The draw plate, what this does is it condenses your wire, makes it uniform, and when I use the 6 loop on the larger Lazy Daisy and I pulled it through the draw plate, and you basically start with as large as you can go, and you continue going down until you get it as tight as you can go. I was able to get a knit that was just as small as or close to it. It might not be quite as small, but close to it than you would get on the 1/4 inch tool. So that was interesting to see. So that's what we're going to be working on today. Before we get started, I'd just like to tell you guys about the sale that's happening right now. So like I said, today is July 29th, and we've got 20% off of all components. And so components are all of our jewelry findings. That's 20% off of ear wires, head pins, jump rings, clasps, eye pins, all of that good stuff. Also, our Austrian crystal square dell line is within that category, so you can get 20% off of that, and all of those products are currently on closeout. So the Austrian crystal square dell line is 30% off on closeout, and then you'll get an extra 20% off during this sale. And the sale also includes crimps. So if you need crimps, now is a great time to stock up with your 20% off. So it includes all of our crimps, all of our crimp tubes, all of our crimp covers. We even have a new multi-crimp pack, a 2mm by 2mm multi-crimp pack, which has 20 count of each of the metal tones. And that little package is currently 10% off because we're kind of considering it like a bulk package. So you're getting a 10% off discount, and then you get an extra 20% off with the sale that's going on. So that's a great time to pick up that if you need some crimps, and then you can have all the different colors. If you've never played with some of the other colors, like copper or gold filled or blackened, which is sterling silver with black oxide. That's a great one to pick up. Hi Lydia, you're gonna have to watch the replay because you're off. Oh, you're at Bead World Scottsdale shopping. How fun! Say hi to our friends over at Bead World and enjoy shopping. I'm so happy to hear that you're at a bead store. And come back and watch the replay at any time. It will be here on the Softflex YouTube channel. So our sale is until tomorrow night at midnight Pacific Standard Time. So that is, tomorrow is July 30th. So you have until July 30th, 2019, midnight Pacific time to shop and get 20% off all components and crimps, including closeouts and including outlet. We have an outlet section online that has a bunch of jump rings, so those would be included as well. So, and then if you place an order over $50, if you're in the United States, you always have the option of free shipping at checkout. So just wanted to remind you guys about that. You can shop at www.softflexcompany.com. All right, so we talked about the new Lazy Daisy. We have some new outlet jump rings that we put up online. We've now got them in antique copper, regular copper, and gold. We did have steel tone, but steel tone has sold out. I looked before, I didn't see any more up there. So I believe the steel tone jump rings have sold out. And the gold, we just have a few packages left. So like I said, those outlet items are sold as is. There's some like discrepancy in some sizes and things like that. So they are an outlet item, but they're heavily discounted, and then you'll get an extra 20% off during the sale. No coupon needed. You just add your items to your cart and you will see the deal. Hi, Pamela. Good to see you. Yay. Nice that you're here. Welcome, welcome. Let's see, did I have, oh, last thing I want to talk about that's going on is we have the Tucson Sunset Design Kit. We have the mystery video tomorrow, no, Wednesday of this week with a guest host. And as of right now, we just have 9 kits left. So if you want to join the Design Kit fun, make sure to go over to softflexcompany.com and grab one of those kits soon. Just 9 left there, and then we'll be sold out. So let's turn you down and get going with our projects. We've got 2. The first one will be pretty quick, but I think the other one will take us a little longer. Hi, Liz. Good to see you. I'm just gonna swap you guys down to my beading table here. And let me open this. Okay, great. All right, so the first strand we're gonna work with is this one. This is what we did last week on the demonstration using the Lazy Daisy. This was the 6 loop design on the 1/2 inch Lazy Daisy tool, which I'll show you guys again, is this guy right here. It's got 12 loops at the top, but we only used 6. We did every other loop. If you want to know how to do this portion, you would have to go back to last week's video after this one to see the technique and how to do this Viking knit here. This was done with smoky quartz in 26 gauge. So that's the smoky quartz color in 26 gauge. And I'm going to show you guys today just how you can go about finishing off. So when you take it off the spool, it'll look kind of like this, and you can even trim. So if you've got some loops that you weren't happy with, you can cut them off. Or if you have like where something, maybe it was uneven here at the start, you can cut that off, and then I'll show you how to finish it. We're going to be using these hammered cones today, and these hammered cones are 20% off in that sale. I'm going to use, I decided to go with the antique brass color. We didn't have, you know, the smoky quartz is kind of a brown color. So I could have went with copper or antique brass. Would have been an option, I think, with this one. And I have some antique brass with me today. I probably used the copper on one of my previous videos, but here's to show you what the different colors are, metal tones. We've got a gold plate, a silver plate. This one is like a blackened, and then the antique brass, and I believe there's a copper color as well. So since I used the smoky quartz to make my knit, I am going to go ahead and use smoky quartz, and you can use, and I think a 22 gauge would be good, and I have 20 on hand, so I'm going to use a 20 gauge. You can go a little bit higher to 18, but it'll just be a little more difficult to get through your beads that you want to add. So it all depends on what beads you're using. I'm gonna move this guy out of the way. For those of you that got the Shades of Coral kit, I am using one of these really pretty little orange corally beads that came in that kit. I think it might be a Swarovski pearl, but I don't know for sure. But it does look like it. It has that kind of look. And let me see what size that is. I'll measure this guy. It looks to be about 5 millimeters. And it just fell on the floor, didn't it? Of course, hold on, let me grab that guy. All right, so to finish off, I'm gonna cut a piece of 20 gauge smoky quartz. And before I cut it, I'm gonna use my nylon jaw pliers, which is this tool right here, so that it'll give a nice straight piece of wire. I'm just gonna run the wire through the middle of these pliers, and like magic, it will straighten it for me. And then go ahead and trim off a piece. I am going to pick a nice long length here, way more than I need. Liz, you want to see how I measured the bead? Sure. I can show you how I measured the bead. I have a little tape measure here that has millimeters on one side and inches on the other side. And I just go to the millimeter side. I place my bead on there. Since it's flexible, I can sort of just look, and you'll see where it ends. I actually think it might be 6 millimeters now that I'm looking again. So between 5 and 6 millimeters. So every line here is a millimeter. So when you get to 1, that is a 10 millimeter. So this was just about half, maybe 5 to 6 on my tape measure. So that's how you measure your bead. You could use a straight ruler as well and just line it up on your straight ruler on your millimeter side. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just take my wire and I'm gonna slide it through my knit and make sure that it is catching it in a way that the knit's not going to slide off. And I didn't worry too much like catching every single loop. I just want to make sure that it is definitely catching the knit on there. You're welcome. I'm just going to bend up the 2 wires like that with my fingers. This is going to be hidden with my cone, so you don't have to really make sure this looks that pretty. You just want to make sure that you're catching it and making it secure. So then you can grab your chain nose pliers, or you can grab your nylon jaw pliers and just hold the one end of the wire. And with your finger, oh, let's see if it'll stop. I probably need my chain because it looks like it's gonna spin around a little bit. Oh, thanks, that's right. We do have a bead size chart at softflexcompany.com in the School of Design Tips and Tricks section. So thank you, Damien, for sharing that. I had forgotten about that. So you can always check that out. You can print it and then have a bead size chart near you. I should do that, actually. And then I can show it when I'm designing, and I have a quicker way of grabbing the size. And maybe it'd be a little more accurate too than me just looking on my own. Okay, so I'm just gonna wrap around a couple of times just to secure it. I don't wanna wrap around a lot because you don't really want this to take up a lot of space underneath your cone. So 1 or 2 times is plenty to make sure that your wire is connected. So if you want that bead size chart, Softflex just linked it in the chat. And then if you don't see it there, you can go to softflexcompany.com, click on School of Design up at the top, where the top navigation is, and then click into our tips and tricks section, and you will find it in there. So now you have a nice strong piece of wire that you can slide your cone down over to cover up where the knit ends. And then you can slide down your bead, just like that. And now we're gonna make a loop and connect it to our toggle clasp. So I'm gonna take my chain nose pliers and I'm gonna bend it like that, a 90-degree angle. Susie says, I need to print that. You guys are the best. Yeah, I need to print it too, Susie. We did it so long ago. I had forgotten that it was up there. So that is a great idea to print it, and then you've got it, you can, put it at your bead table somewhere so that you can check sizes really quickly. Just make sure when you print it that you're printing it at 100% and that your printer is not changing the percentage to say, sometimes there's an option that says fit to page, and it may shrink it or it may enlarge it. Make sure that is not checked on when you print it. You want to print it at 100% so that you know your sizes are accurate that you're looking at. And I think we mentioned that on the page as well. I'm going to use my round nose pliers. Actually going to bring up my wire looping pliers today because I want to make a loop that is 4 millimeters in size, just right there. And so I can just grab a hold of my 4, which is the 3rd. Liz says she just did it, it looks great. Oh, you were quick. You must have been right at your computer. That works out perfect. So I'm lining this up with my 4 millimeter line, and I'm just gonna take my fingers, wrap it around the top, and then I'm gonna take my wrist and wrap it and turn it this way so that I get a nice loop. Now I'm gonna use my chain nose pliers, and I'm gonna grab the base of my loop, and I'm just gonna give it a little tilt back so that it's straight. And then next, I'm gonna grab my loop again, and I'm just gonna slightly bend it open. And what that does is give me enough space to add on my other half of my toggle clasp. This toggle clasp I'm using, we have online, and it does have two sides. So there's a flat side here, or there's the hammered side on the other side. So just make sure that you are putting your toggle clasp on the same way as your first one is. So if you have it on the flat or if you have it on the hammered, just make sure that they match before you go ahead and close it up. So now I'm just gonna grab a hold of that circle, and when you do that, you're just sort of pinching it back closed. And I use my finger to line up my craft wire with the plier. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap around a few times. And here I like to wrap around a couple of times and kind of give it like a fun little wrapped look. Mary says she just finished hers. She's been doing Viking knit for 15 years. I just love it. Yeah, it's totally fun. I've known what it is. I've never done it myself. And when I first tried the Lazy Daisy, I was a little intimidated. And then I gave it a try a couple of more times. And now I'm like, oh wow, that really isn't too bad once you get going. So now I'm just trimming a little bit of my wire because I have enough wrapped around. I wanted to cut off the rest. And then lastly, I'm just gonna take this little edge here of my wire. See, like there's a little pointy edge. And I'm just gonna grab a hold of it and squeeze it with my chain nose plier to tuck it in a little bit more so it doesn't get caught on anything or scratchy. And yeah, so I'm really digging the Viking knit look. It's a lot of fun. I've always seen it and thought it was cool, but I just, I'm not a knitter that much, so I didn't really think a whole lot about it. But now that I've done a couple, I'm totally hooked. So there's just a simple bracelet when you've got the cones and beads. If you were to make a smaller knit, you can add more beads on the other side here. My knit was kind of long, so I didn't want to add too much because then it would have been a little too big for me. So there's our first project, quick and easy. Susie says, it's a good day. I get to watch you. The air conditioner guy is here. Awesome. That's always nice. So you got a little time home to get your air conditioning fixed. Plus, I'm glad you're getting it fixed. I know it's been hot everywhere. And Mary says you get a big impressionable look for just a couple of steps. I set stones using the Viking knit. Ooh, I noticed that when I was looking up some ideas that you can wrap around cabochons with the Viking knit. So that's really interesting and something I'd like to learn in the future. Very cool, Mary. Okay, I'm just in the mood to drop things today. It's just sort of how it's going. So here is our 12 loop knit. This is the one we did again with the 1/2 inch Lazy Daisy, but instead of doing every other loop, we did every loop. And this was 12 loops. And then we ran it through the draw plate to even it out. There's a couple of areas I can see I could probably get better at, but all in all, I think it came out pretty. And since it was such a short little piece, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with it, and I decided, let's make it like a focal in a necklace. So I just slid, this is just a jump ring, and let me measure this one for you because it's a decent sized jump ring. So I'll show you guys again. You just put it up. This looks like 10 millimeters. I'm holding it upside down, but it goes right to that first one. So this is a 10 millimeter copper jump ring, and I have 2 on there. Oh my gosh, Susie, the air has been out since last Thursday. No fun in Phoenix without air conditioning. How have you been dealing with it? Oh my, whenever our AC has gone out, I know there's been like some power outages and stuff. My husband quickly packs us all up and we go to his mom's house because it's just like within a couple of hours, it's a big difference. So I'm really happy that your air conditioning guy is there now. So we're gonna do a similar step than we did on the first one. We're gonna add that wire through the knitted part and up through our end cap. And then I've got this really pretty bead from our Night Blooming collection, I believe is where that one was in. We've got some bead mixes online, and that was in the Night Blooming Garden bead mix. And then I just have another little copper bead, and then you'll see my wire is gonna come out on this side, and we're gonna do the same together on the other side. So before I do the other side, I'm gonna slide on my pendant again. And I just wiggled. This one, like I said, was 10 millimeters, and it just fits. I had a larger jump ring, but it was much larger. I think it was like probably twice the size, maybe 20 millimeters. And it was just too big because I knew what would happen is it would move around on the knitted wire a little too much. So just gonna squeeze that 10 millimeter one on the knit, just like that. And now we'll do the other side. So we used 26 gauge bare copper for this Lazy Daisy Viking knit section. And if you want to know how to do that part, you can look up our knitting playlist. I did a video on the 6 loop. 12 loop is done the same way. You're just going in every loop with the larger Lazy Daisy. And then James has done a few videos as well. So there's quite a few videos on there now on how to use the Lazy Daisy tool to get this part here. Now I'm going to use the bare copper in 22 gauge to attach my end cap and my beads. So same thing, I'm just gonna grab a little piece. I don't know, it's probably about 6 to 8 inches or so, and I'm gonna pull it through my nylon jaw pliers to make it nice and straight. The leaf is really interesting. The leaf is called, it's from a company called Realm of the Goddess. Isn't it really pretty? It's based off of a real leaf. They make a, they must make a cast or something from a real leaf, and then they create it in metal. So this one is like a copper. It has a little bit of, I don't know if it's, I don't want to say patina, but I think you put like heat towards it and then it turns into like a little red. So I picked this up at Tucson Gem Show a couple years ago, but I always see them. They're there at the Two Bead True Blue show. Their company is called Realm of the Goddess, and you can find them online. However, I do think they might be wholesale only. But if you do a Google search like Goddess Leaf, you might be able to find other people that sell it retail that you can purchase from. So that's a little bit about the leaf there. I've had it for a couple years, and it's funny how, you know, you just hold on to things, you know you love it, but it takes a while for it to find its home. And I just thought it went perfect with this design. So we're gonna do the same thing we did on the other one. I'm just gonna slide my 22 gauge wire through the knit, make sure I catch it on both sides and that it's definitely contained. And then I'm just gonna lift it up, cross it together. And again, this part gets hidden from your end cap, so you don't have to worry as much about making this part too pretty. You just have to make sure that you are making it secure. So I'm just holding the wire with my chain nose pliers and wrapping the other side with my fingers. I even went down on top of the knit a little bit on this one. And then I still have quite a bit of wire to play with. Let me see how much I've got here. So I've got about 3.5 inches left of wire to play with. And now I'm gonna use we've got our capital cord end caps. And the reason I'm using this one is the knit is a little bit larger, so you really need the larger end cap to go over it. And I'll show you guys, we've got them in a couple of colors, so depending on what you're working with, we've got like an antique gold, a gold plate. This one's called a tin, it looks like pewter. There's the antique copper, and then also a bright silver. And these, again, are all 20% off in this week's sale that ends tomorrow night. So you're just gonna slide your wire on that end cap, and then I'm gonna add one of these beads. I picked up this one from the Night Blooming design mix. And then I also have just a little copper bead. I'm not exactly sure where these came from. I think I got these from Sarah. I think she might have sent these to me. And these are some artisan copper beads. I'm gonna add one of the copper. So now I've got the end cap, I've got one of these crystally looking beads and a copper. Susie, you should go up north for sure. I went up north a few weeks ago with the family. We went to Woods Canyon Lake, which is just outside of Payson. I think it's about 30 minutes outside of Payson. Oh, it's so pretty. What a difference in temperature. I know it's not easy to get out, you know, when you've got things you have to do, like work and responsibilities. But if you can, well, now you're gonna have AC, so I wish you could have gotten there when you didn't, but it was so beautiful. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my wire looping pliers, and I wanted to do this one on the number 4. It's hard to see the numbers on here, but I'm gonna use the number 4 millimeter. And I'm just gonna take my finger and I'm gonna wrap it around the tool, and then I'm gonna take my wrist and just pull it the other way so you get a full circle. Yes, it's up on the Mogean rim. So lovely. I wish we could have stayed longer, but we just had the day there. Now I'm gonna grab a hold of my loop with my chain nose pliers in my right hand, and I'm just gonna twist the wire around with my finger. I like to make kind of messy, organic looking wraps, so that's why I tend to use my hands a lot. But if you like a tighter and more uniform wrap, you may want to use another chain nose plier to grab a hold of that. The 22 inch is a little bit softer and easier to wrap around than the 20 inches because the 20 gauge is because the 20 gauge is a little bit thicker. And now I just want to make sure my loops are on both ends are facing the same way. They look like they are. Yeah, your grandson loves it up there. It's so beautiful. It's amazing to get out of the desert and be surrounded by trees and just really, it's not far away. It's only about an hour and a half. So it's from where I am in Phoenix. So that's how we finished that part. And then over here, I attached some soft flex copper beading wire. And I was trying to decide what color. I mean, you could go with, you always know turquoise is such a fun color. You can do a fun color pop. And I was playing with maybe adding turquoise beads and then adding a different color wire. But I just thought this was such an elegant design. I wanted to keep, and since we do have a copper soft flex wire color, I wanted to kind of keep the copper going and focus on the elegance of it. But you could totally go another way too and have fun with the colors. So we're going to attach a piece of soft flex wire on this end. So I'm just going to grab, I've got our soft flex copper color. We call it metallics. This is our medium diameter, the 0.019. And this is a copper color. It's not real copper, but it is a copper, metallic copper color that is drawn into the wire and then nylon coated. So you're not gonna have any issues with this copper changing color or patinaing or anything like that. So that is what it looks like. If you're not familiar with Softflex Company, Softflex wire is a beading flex wire. So it's made with stainless steel core. It's 49 strands, micro braided. It's very flexible and it's good for all sorts of beading projects. So I'm gonna cut a nice length of wire. Just so I have plenty. And I'm going to be using our Softflex 2x2 millimeter crimp tubes. And what a crimp tube is a crimp tube is what connects your beading wire to your rest of your design. It makes connections basically. So we're gonna connect it with the crimp tube here, and then in the back when we add a clasp, we will connect with the clasp. The crimp tubes, like I said before, are also on sale for 20% off through tomorrow night. Softflex Company makes awesome crimp tubes. They are really great quality. They're double the wall thickness and seamless. And since our wire uses crimps so much, we really take pride in making sure we create a good crimp tube. And now I'm just looking at the loop I made on the left. I'm coming in and out of focus, or really? Yeah, let me just touch my screen a little bit. Let's see if that helps. It is cloudy out, so it's possible. We are going into our stormy season. What is possible is the actual video disappearing, or am I just going in and out of focus? Maybe I need to not move around so much. So I am using our magical crimping pliers to crimp this crimp tube. These crimping pliers are only work with the 2x2 millimeter crimp tube, which is the most common size that you use. And what it does is it will turn this little tube into a bead. I look good, I look good, okay. So when I put the crimp tube in, I wanna make sure that it's right in the center of the notches and it's gonna pinch the 4 corners. And then I'm gonna turn my crimp tube over, give it another squeeze, and then I'm gonna go around that crimp tube to make a nice little bead. Make sure that it's on there good, and then you can trim off the little wire tail, leaving just your long beading wire. And now let me move a few of these tools out of the way. And now our next step is just to bead up the back. It could be Tucson, it's true. You might be having some some storms in your area as well. So I've been playing with these beads from, let's see what we've got here. I've been playing with a mixture of beads, but most of them are from the Saraswati bead mix that we have online. As you see, this bead mix is full of fun oranges and pinks, golds, browns, all that good stuff. So most of them are from that mix, with the exception of this guy here. This big one here is from the Night Blooming mix, and that is the same place where I grabbed this one. And this wooden one is from the Wonderlust kit. And then these copper ones are just copper beads I had in my bead stash over time. So I have a few beads here that I pulled out from the Saraswati mix that I thought would go well with this design. And I didn't get any of these in there. I've got these like iridescent looking orange ones, and I thought that they go really well with the leaf. So I haven't gotten any of those in there yet. I wanted your help to figure out where we should place those. Let me just straighten this out so you can see. And then I also have these little cute beads here from the Shades of Coral design kit that we can incorporate too if we wanted to. Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit of it being fuzzy on my end too. So maybe us in Arizona are just having a little tougher of a time with the focus today. It could be because it's so cloudy out that the camera's having a little bit more difficulty grabbing the light. I was gonna see if my light was available, but it's not. I think one of my kids used it when he made a video. All right, so what do you guys think with what I've got going on here? Should I add in any of these teeny beads? I've got some fire polish in there. Or should I try and get in these orangey ones from the Saraswati mix? Because I do need to bead up the back a little bit more than I've got here. So I have to kind of add in a few of those. Hi Lee, welcome. Well, we've been working on finishing Viking knit pieces into jewelry, and this one is the necklace. We did a bracelet before where I showed how to finish these off earlier in the video, and then we're working on a necklace. The leaf is from a company called Realm of the Goddess. I got it at the Two Bead True Blue bead show in Tucson. They are usually there. I got it a couple years ago, but they're usually there. And they do have a website, however, I believe they sell wholesale only. So if you're not wholesale customer, you might need to just Google leaf pendant or goddess leaf pendant and see what comes up. Or if you are wholesale, you can go and check out their website. They're called Realm of the Goddess. The orange ones, I think so too. We need to get these orange ones in here. All right, so I'll bead up on the, let's get my wires untangled here. I'll bead up on this side and we'll compare it with this one and see where we want to place those little orange ones. Thanks, Damien, for finding that website and linking it. There's Realm of the Goddess. So the first one I strung on the other side was a copper, just a copper bead, make it kind of similar. There's one copper bead and then the other copper bead. And then oh, I used too many of these over here. That's why I don't have any more of those. I'll have to grab that. Maybe then we'll add one of these orange ones to kind of bring in the pop from the leaf. And then I've got, this was in the Saraswati bead mix too, this little copper spacer. So I can add a little copper spacer there. I've got these pretty little beads that have like a texture to them. They're in the Saraswati bead mix. So that's what we've got so far. And then I'll just flank this. This little polymer clay bead is also from the Saraswati bead mix. I need a pop. I need a pop. I think I'll add another orange. I know it's very monochromatic, this particular design today, but sometimes monochromatic is really very pretty and elegant, and that's kind of what I felt like going for with that big leaf. What do you guys think about this wooden bead in there? Does it belong? Because that's what I would be at next. I felt like it brought a nice earthy feel to it, but maybe it needs some of these orange beads on either side to give it a little more color. Let's try. You like the wooden one? Yeah, I felt like it brought a little of the earthiness because, you know, we're working with a nice real leaf here. So I thought it brought a nice earthiness to it. What side are you liking better? The right side has a little more color with those orange beads in there. C. What do you say? C2. Did you hit enter before you finished typing, Liz? The orange beads look nice. Yeah, I think they add a little something extra, and they do pop the color. What if you put 3 orange together? I could. I only have, oh, let's see how many I used actually. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 orange beads total. So if I put 3 together, it would just be 1 spot of orange on each side. And I've already used too many orange beads on this side. I like the orange beads a lot next to the wood though. So maybe I'll take it out from here. Since I don't have that many orange beads, I'd like to just sprinkle them in so that we get a little more color throughout. It does look a lot nicer, I think, next to the wood beads though than it did on the other side. It was a good idea. I just didn't have a whole lot of them to play with. Let's see. I wanted to get another one of these in there. I think that helps bring a little extra color into. Where can I put those? Okay, so I have to move one of these guys. I think I'm gonna move this one. Well, the things you have to do when you're very limited on which ones you have, right? Is I don't have enough of those beads to mimic what I was doing on the other side. So let's try. Ooh, storms are coming into Michigan. It's really blackout. So many summer storms right now. It is a good challenge. It does challenge you when you only have certain beads to play with and you have to kind of count and make sure you have enough on the other side. So I think I'll do this one next. And then I'll add this one above it. So that's where we're at there. Let's see how long this one is. Check out how long my strand is. I've got about 4.5 inches on this side. little bead stopper to hold it up and see where I am on my neck. I need a couple of more beads, so let's see what I got here. I've got some smaller copper beads I could use. Bead stoppers. Bead stoppers are the best. Bead stoppers are these little clips. This is the mini size, and you just squeeze them. We at Softflex have exclusivity to these little grips, and you just squeeze them and put your wire in, and it'll help you not lose your beads. And this is the large size on the other side, so you can get a comparison of the mini and the regular. All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 of these. And I also have these pretty little beads too. I think the coral might be a little too clashy with the orange though. But I do have these little fire polish in there that I can run up the back side of the necklace. I think that'll be pretty. You agree with me that the coral might be a little too pinky with what we've got going on here? Oh, these are pretty too. These are in the Saraswati bead mix. They're like a little crystal heart. Let's see. Do they run this way? What way do they run? Oh, interesting. They run kind of diagonally. Huh, that's neat. I'm not sure I like it for this design, but that is a neat way for the wire to run. All right, let's just go with these little tiny copper ones and a couple of these fire polish beads. So maybe I'll do 1 copper and then I'll do 3 fire polish. There's 2. There's 3. I tell you, these design kits, I feel like the beads go on forever. I've done so many designs with the Shades of Coral design kit stuff, and I still have a ton of beads to play with. It's amazing how many pieces you can get out of those design kits. For those of you that didn't get a chance to play along with Shades of Coral, we have the Tucson Sunset design kit on sale now, and we've got about 9 left. And the video reveal, unboxing, and design challenge is this Wednesday with a mystery guest. So I'm just doing a pattern of one of these little copper beads and then 3 fire polish. And this is going to be more up the back of my neck, so I think that that's okay for it to be a lot thinner and smaller going up the back. And I think I'm going to use a lobster clasp. We have some lobster clasps at softluxcompany.com. Those are also on sale. I've got a 12mm copper lobster clasp I'm thinking about using today. And of course we have a bunch of toggles and stuff too. Do you guys have a preference of when you like to use a toggle and when you like to use a lobster clasp, or do you like a totally different clasp at the back? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna do one more. Hopefully I have enough. Liz says the kit is so pretty. It really was such a nice mix of colors. Even if you didn't use them all together, you could get a lot of really pretty designs out of it. All right, I'm gonna stop there and see where this measures. And I'm gonna measure, I think, from the middle here up to this one side. That'll kind of give me a truer. Oh, are you saying the Tucson Sunset kit is so pretty? Is that the one you're talking about? It is pretty. They're all a challenge, right? I mean, they're all like a nice challenge. There's always stuff in there that's... All right, so I'm about 10 inches on this side, which means my necklace would end up being about 20 inches. Let me just show you what we did here on this side. And I'm just gonna pop it up. The bead stoppers make it really nice that you can hold it up and check the size without worrying about losing your whole design. Ooh, it looks pretty. You guys are gonna love it when I pick it up and show you on my neck. I think we've got a good length going here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I had one more. Move these out of the way. And I'm gonna attach the clasp on one side, and then I'll probably finish the necklace off video the other side, because you guys don't have to see me do the same thing, but I will pick it up and show you what it looks like on my neck. I'm a big fan of lobster clasps. I feel like they're so nice and secure, and I like to use them a lot when I am doing necklaces. I don't always love them as much for bracelets because they're a little harder to put on at times. So I do tend to go to a toggle for my bracelets, but for necklaces, I really like a lobster clasp. Liz says she uses more toggles. Yeah, I do use a lot of toggles. I'm curious if there's another type of clasp out there that I'm not using that you guys really like. So let me know if there's something that's your favorite. And I'm just pulling my crimp down and then pulling the tail on the wire. I have a lot of wire to work with. I cut a lot of wire off. And I just want to pull the crimp down close to the bead, but you want to make sure that there is still room for the beads to move around and it's not too tight. Because if it's too tight, then you have more instances of things breaking because of the tension of it being unable to be flexible and move around. So you just want to make sure you leave a little bit of space. I especially like to leave space on necklaces because it's in the back and you don't see it, so it's a little easier sometimes than with bracelets. And then once you're happy with where your loop is and where your crimp is. Mary's gonna go, the storm is getting bad. Thanks for being here, Mary. I hope that your power stays on and your storm passes through with no major issues. It was great to see you. Have a wonderful week. And I'll see you next Monday again. I'll be here same time. And then once you're crimped, you trim off that piece of wire. And this is a decent size of wire I have left because I cut a lot. So I am of course going to save this in my little bag of extra pieces of wire, because you don't want to let that go to waste. So I'm going to flip you guys around and show you what it looks like on, and I'll finish the other side afterwards and post a picture in the VIB group when I am done. Be safe, Mary. Yes, thanks, Susie. Liz says, I use more toggles because I'm old and they're easier to use. I do think they're easy to use. Oh, and before I switch it over, I just want to show you guys on Wednesday, I think the video has been posted here on YouTube too, but on Wednesday I made these earrings with some of the Viking knit wire, and I did it on Facebook. And then we went ahead and also posted that here in YouTube, in the YouTube channel. So you can rewatch how I finished this. I didn't do the knitting, but I just showed how I finished off the little pieces of wire here and made an earring. And I'm loving those. All right, so let's turn you up. Woohoo! Susie has air. Yeah. So important to have air conditioning in the desert, hot summer desert. All right, so let's see what we've got going on with this necklace. So here's what we created on the right side, and then I'm gonna redo the left side so that it matches. I'm just gonna pull it up here so you get an idea of how it looks on. And I think that is a lot of fun. The little pops of orange made a big difference to bring in a little more color. And I love this little Viking knit in the front. I think I might do more things like that where the Viking knit just sort of helps frame a pendant. I think that's really cool. Really, really cool. Pretty. Thank you guys for your help today. And then here again is the bracelet that we made earlier too. And that one we did with the toggle. Well, thank you guys so much for being here today. Thanks for your help in helping me finish out the colors and on the necklace design. And before I go, I just wanted to remind you guys to give me a thumbs up if you liked today's tutorial. And that helps us to show up here and be able to give you this great jewelry content on a regular basis. The thumbs up helps other people see that the video is being liked and, you know, algorithm and all that on YouTube. Thanks, Liz. She says beautiful. Thank you. We have our upcoming schedule is our mystery guest on Wednesday for the Two Sun Sunset design kit. Final reminder, we have about 9 left. So if you want to grab it before the unboxing, you can go ahead and do that. Or if there's a few left, maybe you'll grab it on Wednesday after you see the awesome colors and lovely designs that get created during the challenge. The challenge will be over on the Softflex Company Facebook page at 1 p.m. Pacific time. And if you are a Facebook user, we've got a wonderful group of community beaders over there called the Softflex VIB Studio. And we've got like 3,500 members in there. It's really active. Everyone is sharing all their designs they're working on, and there's a lot of stuff happening with the monthly design kit in there. The deadline for posting jewelry from the kit. Good question, Pamela. I actually wrote that down. Okay, so you can start posting after 1 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday, July 31st is when you can begin posting, and then you can post your designs up until August 20th. And we will choose a winner. We go through and just make a list and do a random pick of everyone that submitted designs. You get an entry for each design you submitted. So if you make a necklace and a bracelet and a pair of earrings, that will be considered 3 entries. And then we just go through, do a random, random.org, pick a number, and that is who wins a future beading kit, so design kit. So it's a lot of fun. And it's great to see what everyone's making. It's wonderful to get inspired and just see what's happening. And of course, if you have questions or you're working through something, you can always share pictures of what you're working on and ask the community for questions or help. It's wonderful for that too. Like I said, it's really an active, fun group. Lastly, we've got a blog over at softluxcompany.com, so be sure to check that out from time to time. We do lots of articles. We do roundups on Fridays. We do a roundup of all the videos that we've done that week. We do free projects, and most of the time our blogs are talking about the stuff that we've got on sale so that you can see what we've got on sale, how to use it, and if it's something you'd like to pick up. So you can find that at softluxcompany.com. You can scroll down to the bottom of the page and you'll see the newest blogs, or if you want to see all of our blogs, you would just go to the School of Design and click on Beading blog and check that out there. So you guys have a wonderful week. I hope everyone stays cool, has air conditioning, and that the storms in their area that are happening, you're safe and you don't have anything major that happens within those wonderful summer storms from Mother Nature. And I will see you guys here next week, same time, 12 p.m. Pacific time on Monday for a new episode of Free Spirit Beading. Been a lot of fun. Talk to you guys soon. Bye. Beader for life. Thank you. Have a great day. Yes, to everybody. Nice to have you today, Beader for life.